Good evening and many thanks for joining us. I am Ifunanya Amafili, bringing you the evening news from the studios of ABS. And our major news stories today: the governor's wife, Chief Mrs. Obiano, offsets hospital bills for quintuplets Mwaka. Work resumes throughout the state today after 2 days Salah holidays. Khan says the country's security situation is reprehensible, unacceptable and condemnable. Optometrics call for early eye tests for children to avoid permanent problems. And now the full in details. The wife of the governor, Chief Mrs. Ebelechukwu Obiano, has offset the over 1.6 million naira medical bills of Mrs. Ifoma Nwaka, who was recently delivered of a quintuplet. Mrs. Nwaka was successfully delivered of 5 babies, 3 boys and 2 girls, after a successful intravitreal fertilization IVF spearheaded by the Chief Medical Officer of Live International Hospital, Oka, Professor Joseph Ichebelu. Our correspondent, Dan Ezigwe, brings the rest of that story.
In the check to the Chief Medical Director of the hospital, Chief Mrs. Obiano disclosed that the gesture was a reaffirmation of the ideologies of our non-governmental organization, the Caring Family Enhancement Initiative, CAFE, which centers on giving a hand of hope to the poor. She described Anambra State as a blessed land, citing the recent world-class innovation success of the students of Regina Pachi's Model School Onitsha as a true story of a successful Anambra State. Chief Mrs. Obiano called on the parents of the babies to double their efforts in order to ensure that the children get the best in their choosing life dreams, stressing that the excuse of limited resources should not guide their parental obligations to the babies.
I think the parents are kind of hooked up here. I understand the babies were had on the 8th of this month and they were discharged about a week ago, but they couldn't leave because they could not settle their bills. And that's one of the reasons why I'm here, to ensure that something is done, by way of using through my NGO to sort out the bills so the babies and the mother can go home and the family will get to enjoy the newborns.
Earlier, the Chief Medical Director of the hospital, Professor Ikechebele, who had given a 5% discount on the bills, said the intervention of the governor's wife tells a rare story of a mother whose sacrifice for her children are priceless, adding that the new hospital remains committed to the best.
Is what Anambra State needs, giving us a world-class facility that can take care of responsibilities like this. Because these babies may have died somewhere else, but they've been managed successfully. Mother is safe, and the babies are safe. That's what we are looking at. Medical expertise at the best level.
The pediatrician in charge of the hospital and medical personnel who manned the delivery process of the babies, Dr. Kenneth Okeke, said the babies are doing well after spending 2 weeks in the neonatal intensive care unit of the hospital as a result of the pregnancy time frame, which lasted for approximately 37 premature weeks. He solicited external help for the mother and the babies, noting that their nutritional demands have increased and that dependence on breast milk was impossible, given that supplementary diets are needed as well. Also in the governor's wife entourage, where the Commissioner for Women, Children and Social Welfare, Lady Ndidi Mezue, whose ministry also presented baby wares, beverages, toiletries and other household items. The Transition Committee Chairman of Oka North Local Government Area, Honorable Lawrence Onwuzuka, who gave the sum of 100,000 naira, and the member representing Orumba South at the State House of Assembly, Prince Nikhil Gochukwu, who supported with the sum of 50,000 naira to relieve the burden from the family. Responding, Mrs. Nwaka, who could barely express her amazement, said she was initially shocked with the ultrasound revelations. She said the visit by Chief Mrs. Obiano capped the family's testimony story, given that she had always heard of the governor's wife's goodwill in the media without any forethought she will be a beneficiary someday.
It was very great. I thank God because if it is somebody's making, it cannot be like this. I thank God who made the whole thing possible. I am very happy to see her. At least this baby has made me to see her one-on-one, see her in person. I've been seeing her on television, hearing about her, the great things she has been doing, how wonderful she is. But today, I will see her in person.
In the spirit of the Salah celebration, some charitable groups used the occasion to put smiles on the faces of the less privileged in the society. Evident is the donation of some food items, among other things, to Divine Mercy Compassion Orphanage, Anambra. Valentine Maduga was there and brings us more of that story.
Some of the items donated by the charitable club include 2 bags of gari, a bag of rice, cartons of biscuits and noodles, 2 bags of yams, toiletries, beverages, amongst others. Speaking shortly after the presentation, the mayor of the club, Professor Tony Nwokoye, thanked the management of the orphanage for their service to humanity, describing the gesture as the club's cardinal objective.
So this is supposed to be Easter visit, but because of something happening, we couldn't make it. That's why we have come here to see these children and the home, and then present these things which we believe will be used to take care of these children.
Also speaking, the club publicity secretary and a director in the Ministry of Diaspora Affairs, Emma Umokana, said that the aim of the club is to improve the less privileged standard of living through charity. He called on the government and non-governmental groups through the Ministry of Children and Women Affairs to always reach out to the less privileged to enable them have sense of belonging.
Share our joys and sorrows, and we go out and reach out to those who are less privileged.
Responding, the administrative head of the orphanage, Reverend Sister Chizaram Ugu, represented by her assistant, Reverend Sister Chinyere Obuagu, thanked the clubs for their gesture and prayed God to reward them abundantly.
At least with their support, we can be able to take good and appropriate care of these children. So on behalf of the home, we are very much grateful that they are here to visit us, and we appreciate their awesome donation to the home.
Official presentation and handing over of the items to the management of the orphanage by the club formed the highlights of the visit. From Divine Mercy Compassion Orphanage Home, Anambra, Valentine Anambra reporting for ABS News.
The Anambra State Community and Social Development Agency, CSDA, has organized the one-day sensitization program for stakeholders from 3 local government areas in Anambra North Senatorial District of the state. The 3 local government areas that attended the program that took place at Anambra East Council Hall, Aguleri, included Anambra East, Anambra West, and Ayamelum. Correspondent Success Odomena reports that traditional rulers, president generals, women, and youth leaders attended the sensitization that aimed at fighting poverty and bringing development closer to the various communities through a World Bank-assisted program. Her reports.
The chairman of the agency and traditional ruler of Inteje, Igwe Roland Odebo, who explained that the program is established by law to reach out to poor communities in the state and help them achieve some of their infrastructural challenges, pleaded on them to key into the project by paying only 10% of any project to be cited in their communities.
The governor has done everything to secure a position for Anambra by paying the matching grant of 50 million naira. What we are doing in effect is reaching small communities that are poor and trying to bring them in line with the rich ones. At least infrastructure through the World Bank agency to help them to achieve certain things that they ordinarily wouldn't achieve.
Speaking, the General Manager, Community and Social Development Agency, CSDA, Mr. Chudi Mojeku, said the World Bank-assisted program focuses on building and rebuilding social and natural resources infrastructure service at the community level, listing physical and social infrastructure, micro-projects, among others, as part of the development each interested community could benefit from. He called on interested communities to set up a community development plan, CDP, that would assist them to come up with a work plan of what they want to benefit from the project. In their separate speeches, the traditional ruler of Anam, Igwe Sir Ekwalo, and his Umumbo counterpart, Igwe Simeon Ikechukwu, as well as Transition Committee Chairman for Anambra East and West, Mr. Pius Ifadi, and Honorable Tony Collins Mwabunwanne, respectively stressed the need for togetherness in order to map out projects to be assisted by the World Bank and the need to harness the opportunity given to them by the state government. They also commended Governor Willie Obiano for paying the counterpart fund for community to assess the project. Other stakeholders, including the President General of Inoma Community in Anambra West Council area, Mr. Patrick Ubaja, and Mrs. Frances Mbamalu from Msube Community in Anambra East Council area, while appreciating the state governor and the World Bank for their gesture, assured their full support for the overall success of the project in the area.
We are one of the rural area and the typical area in Anambra State that can benefit from this project. And we are also ready to assist in order to achieve this project.
From Aguleri in Anambra East local government area, it's been Success Odemena reporting for ABS News.
Work has fully resumed today after the just concluded 2 days Eid al-Kabir holiday. This was observed when the ABS visited some public offices and banks in Oka. Emmanuel Okonkwo tells us more on that story.
The ABS visited some government offices in Oka. It was obvious that work has fully commenced as workers were seen in their various offices performing their normal official duties, while at the banks visited, staff and customers were seen carrying out different transactions. Speaking to the ABS, some civil servants in Oka, including Mr. Ima Umaokana, Mr. Obi Chibuzo, and Mrs. Ngozi Nebolisa, said that the holiday helped them sort out some personal and family issues and chance to visit loved ones, asking the Muslim faithful to live out the essence of the celebration by showing love and tolerance to other religious groups in the country for peaceful coexistence. On their part, Mr. Ikechukwu Dogu and Mrs. Josephine Ozemena observed that during Christmas and Easter celebrations, fuel and other commodities in the market became scarce and increased in prices, unlike Salah celebrations, and appealed to the federal government to put an end to such ugly experience as a way of stabilizing the indivisibility of the country.
The government should do the needful. If they want this country to move ahead, it is in their power. If they want us to keep going back to old age, we keep going back. By now, Nigeria shouldn't be dilly-dallying around this kind of situation. We have all the necessary resources to become the giant of Africa.
In Oka, I am Emmanuel Okonkwo, reporting for ABS News.
The State Coordinator, National Youth Service Corps, Mr. Kehinde Aremu, has underscored the importance of the scheme towards nation building. Mr. Aremu gave this emphasis while discussing the topic, the role of NYC in nation building, during an ABS television phone-in program. Good morning, Anambra. Our correspondent, Oluebube Ude, has more details on this.
Mr. Kehinde said that house numbering program in the country, which was difficult at the initial stage, was accomplished with the help of the core members. He said that the Community Development Services CDS program in the scheme was to foster development at the community level. Looking into unemployment rate in the country, Mr. Kehinde noted that the NYSC since 2011 has initiated the establishment of entrepreneurship and skill acquisition with the Bank of Industry and Central Bank of Nigeria, as well as giving up to 60 NYSC official training to help train the core members and empower them to establish their own businesses. He went further to assure the safety of the core members and setting up of database, which he said is to track down fraudsters who have been repeating their services in different parts of the country.
For you to have any credible election, it was generally our late president, dear president, President Yaradua, after a long research, I said, look, if we are going to have any credible election in this country, corps members must be involved because they are dispassionate, they are educated, they are all over the country, and they have no stake. And we have discharged that, they have discharged that creditably since their involvement.
Mr. Kainde thanked Governor Willie Obiano for the ongoing construction of an ultra-modern NYSC permanent orientation camp in the state and the approval of the new office complex at the site.
On the national scene, the Association of Nigeria (CAN) has condemned the killing of 2 religious leaders, describing the security situation in the country as reprehensible. In a statement by Pastor Adebayo Oladeji, the Special Assistant Media and Communications to the CAN President, Reverend Dr. Samson Olasupo Ayokunle, the association also urged security agencies to be more proactive in the performance of their duties. Correspondent Chidima brings the rest of that story.
According to the statement, Reverend Father Michael Akau, an assistant parish priest at Our Lady of Immaculate Conception Parish, Dobi Village, near Gwagwalada, was reportedly shot dead by yet-to-be-identified gunmen in Gwagwalada, Abuja, while shopping on Saturday evening. And on Sunday, August 19, 2018, at about 1 a.m., Nasara Baptist Church in Gugua, near Regasa in Kaduna, was attacked, and Reverend Hosea Akuchi was shot dead. His wife, Talatu Akuchi, was kidnapped, and a ransom of 5 million naira has been demanded for her release. CAN called on the relevant security agencies to do whatever it takes to bring the culprits to book and rescue the widow of the late Reverend Akuchi as soon as practicable. It also restated its call to security agencies to be more proactive and invest more on intelligence gathering with a view to preventing many of these crimes that are being committed before their watches undetected. CAN also notes with pain and disappointment the state of insecurity in the country, lamenting that nowhere is safe and secured as terrorists, rampaging headsmen, killer bandits, armed robbers, kidnappers, and other hoodlums are operating unchecked, while security agencies are busy with elections, forgetting that leaders are elected to rule over the living. However, CAN once again called on President Muhammadu Buhari to arrest all assailants that are responsible for these dastardly acts, saying Nigeria's security situation is reprehensible, unacceptable, and condemnable.
And on the business news, the global oil benchmark Brent crude hits a 2-week high over $74 per barrel on Wednesday. The American Petroleum Institute reported that U.S. crude stock fell last week by 5.2 million barrels, more than 3 times the decline analysts expected. According to an analyst data published after the closing of trading yesterday, its lending buoyancy to prices and official inventory data this afternoon are likely to show a more marked inventory reduction. Oil also found support from a weak dollar, which has slipped this week in response to U.S. President Donald Trump's comment that he was not thrilled by the Federal Reserve's interest rate increase. A weaker dollar makes oil less expensive for buyers using other currencies. European oil companies have started to cut back on Iranian's purchase, although Chinese buyers have shifted their cargoes to Iranian-owned vessels to keep supplies flowing. U.S. and Chinese officials are set to resume talks on Wednesday, but Trump said he expected there will be no real progress. Some Nigerians react to Walt Disney fairy tale movie Princess Sade on the entertainment news. Nigeria's fairy tale movie is presently being produced by Rick Famuyiwa and co-written by Ola Shokunbi. The movie, being developed by Walt Disney, will be starring a Nigerian princess called Sade, whose kingdom was being threatened by a mysterious evil force. The screenplay will focus on a young African girl named Sade, who must accept her newly discovered magical powers to protect her people. This she does with the help of the Prince of the Kingdom. The idea for the movie was originally initiated by Reid Palmer and sold to Disney. The studio also confirmed the producer and executive producer for Sade will be Dope, director Famuyiwa and Scott Falconer. However, a director is yet to be named. Optometrics have warned that children are developing permanent problems with their vision because they are not being given an eye test early enough. An Association of Optometric survey of 1,200 people indicated a quarter of school-age children had not been taken for a sight test by their parents. Of parents surveyed, 52% thought tests will be given in primary schools. While some schools do offer screenings, the tests are less comprehensible than those provided free on the NHS. Delayed diagnosis can make treatments for sight problems, such as amyloia, known as lazy eye, much less effective. 1 in 50 children will develop amyloia, where one or both eyes are unable to build a strong link to the brain, causing vision to not develop properly. The NHS recommends that children should be screened for the condition when they turn 4, because it becomes harder to treat after the age of 6. Treatments include glasses and using an eye patch or eye drops to obscure the vision in the stronger eye to make the weaker one work harder. And on the sports scene, Super Eagles coach Gernot Rohr yesterday expected the Ahmadu Bello Stadium in Kaduna with the hope of having the national team play their home game of the 2019 African Cup of Nations qualifier against Libya there. Rohr, who arrived Nigeria on Sunday, was at the stadium in the company of the league's management company chairman, Shehu Diko, to inspect the facility. Diko said after the inspection that they will have had a look around the arena and will now make recommendations about its suitability to host Eagles matches. He also said renovation of the stadium will commence with immediate effects to put the stadium in order. The Seven Keshi Stadium in Asaba, which recently hosted the African Athletics Championship, has also been considered to host one of the home games for the Super Eagles. The team will be away to Seychelles on September 8th and will host Libya in October. Officials confirmed that Rohr will on Friday this week release his list of invited players for the away clash with Seychelles. Remember that you can follow us on our news and programs from any part of the world by logging into our website, which is www.absradio.com, or follow us on our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/ABS Radio Television, or like us on our Twitter or Instagram handle. Now a recap for the main points of the day. The governor's wife, Chief Mrs. Obiano, offsets hospital bill for quintuplets Nwaka, enjoins their parents to ensure the best of them. Work resumes throughout the state today after 2 days Salah holiday. Khan says the country's security situation is reprehensible, unacceptable, and condemnable. And optometrics call for early eye tests for children to avoid permanent problems. And that's it on the news for us today. Many thanks for joining us. My name is Ifunanya Amafili. Good night.